Hi, I'm Suki.
And I'm Claire.
Welcome to Getting Psychic, where you can listen to us use ourselves to test the theory that anyone can get psychic.
Hi, Suki.
Hi, Claire. How's it going?
Good. I'm in Palm Springs, and you're in Austin.
Amazing. We're doing
I
a
know.
traveling pod.
We have tiny microphones with us.
Go mics.
They're pretty cute.
Yeah,
Eric
they are
thought it
cute.
was real cute.
I know, they're actually adorable. Like you could swallow them like a pill.
He was like, "Ooh, it's like a spy microphone." I don't think it's that
It's
good.
not that tiny, but yeah.
It's not that tiny.
So wait, what are you doing? What are you doing in Palm Springs?
Well, we sort of had a renegade in LA, but as you can tell from my voice, I was sick. And so that didn't happen. We were in LA and I was sick.
Ugh,
And
bummer.
then, so yeah, we ended up not doing Renegade, which is a drag. But
So
it was
sad.
also super windy on the second day, and the camera would not have been safe. So anyway, it's a drag, but it happens. Sometimes there's a flop.
Sad.
And so afterwards, we always come to Palm Springs, where my aunt lives, and have Thanksgiving.
Cool.
So yeah, we're here.
That's great. Let's talk about cults now.
Yeah, okay. You're like, super. Who cares? Cults.
No, I do care.
Yes.
I just,
No, I do care. I just not that much.
I just really want to talk about cults this week for some reason. No,
yeah, I know.
So you were asking me,
which is hilarious.
Like why? But I feel like there's so much there, especially for.
There is, but I want to know, like, what was the thing, like, a couple days ago that made you be like, cults? I'm getting into it. Did something happen that made you be like, you know what's fascinating? Cults.
Well, I started watching a cult documentary. But also there's just so much here because it made me start thinking about coaching, and it made me start thinking about mentorship, and it made me start thinking about like business coaching and psychic coaching and coaching in general. And, there's so much there that I am excited to talk about my experiences with. But anyway, so I started watching the Twin Flames documentary on Netflix.
Oh.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was told, maybe by you, ugh and barf. What is, I don't know what it's about.
Probably by other people too. It's just a classic story of a measly little turd who starts manipulating mostly women, including his cult partner, and he just gets worse and worse. And the whole premise is that like people join this group to find their twin flame.
Ew, gross. Why would you want to find your twin flame?
I don't know. Will you describe what twin flame means to you?
Twin flame to me is somebody that you are insanely drawn to, feel profoundly connected. The sex is always off the fucking charts, but there is no way that you guys can last. In my mind, it's like Mars and Venus like colliding into each other or something, and being like, this is super hot and we'll both die.
Yeah. Like, I feel like we've all had that for a moment at least.
Yeah.
Here's part of the reason why I felt like, cult documentaries always make me want to throw up. But part of the reason that made this one particularly nauseating was that they used so much spiritual terminology. And so they used that as part of their manipulation. And it was like, oh God, you're giving, earnest people that say stuff like that use these terms like a worse name. And it was so disturbing. They even got to the point where this like couple that led the cult was like basically saying that they were accessing the astral plane and had the distinct power to know through like psychic vision who was your twin flame. They made themselves all knowing and all powerful in this group, and it was like really heartbreaking to see what people started doing because of it.
Did you watch the Nexium documentary series? That one is fucked up, but at least he's in jail.
Yeah, I think this little worm, like,
he's
still
a
active.
Disgusting human.
I think the twin flame guy they're like actively still running their group. So okay, so I did a little research on the subject because I don't know what makes someone susceptible to waking up one day and being like totally immersed in a cult. Seems like you have to ignore many red flags to get there. But I think...
Yeah, but the thing is... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
But I was going to say, but like part of what makes a cult is like emotional response suppression techniques. So if you're talking to anyone that's trying to tell you to contradict your natural instincts in order to grow or for any purpose, like,
yeah,
huge red flag.
I think that there was definitely a time I would have been very susceptible to joining a cult.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there was actually a point in time. There was this place in Chicago, I'm not going to name it.
Okay.
That I first started doing a lot of meditation work.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted me to join the school or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It sound, I mean, like, in the end, it just sounded like indentured servitude. Because you pay them and you have to work for them.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that doesn't seem like a good thing.
Yeah. That's a weird setup.
And like, it was like a wife and husband thing. And I was like, I feel like this could be creepy. But yeah, I feel like people who are seeking.
Yeah.
And in a really vulnerable place. Yeah. Man, somebody, that makes them feel connected and special.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes. The manipulation of like, this is what I can give you. You can be more. Yeah, I'm happy to show you.
Yep.
So did you look into specific? Because I've watched a lot of cult documentaries.
You're an expert.
I'm into it.
Well, okay. So, I mean, I have a lot to say also about coaching. Not that coaching is culting and vice versa, but sometimes the lines can get blurred and it's weird. But I do want to say that just for informational purposes, like, here are some signs that you might be in a cult. I mean, the main thing for me was like the emotional control element. They manipulate and narrow the range of feelings. Some emotions and or needs are deemed as evil, wrong, or selfish. They teach emotion stopping techniques to block feelings of homesickness, anger, and doubt. And they make the person feel that problems are always their own fault, never the leaders or the group's fault. They instill fear, such as the fear of the outside world, enemies, leaving, or being shunned by the group. Those things are all pretty scary.
Also,
red flags.
Sounds like an abusive partner.
Yes, absolutely. And you can find yourself in an abusive group. But I also think, like, on this path, like, there are a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are seeking. And you and I are always seeking to learn new things. Like, we can make mistakes in choosing our teachers. And please know, it's okay.
You might be making a mistake in following us.
Shut up. No, I'm trying to say, like, please know it's okay. Just get out as soon as you experience the red flag, you know? Like, I've done
Yeah.
so like, you know, like people that are listening to this are probably gonna go potentially like sign up for like an Akashic record reading class, or, you know, this applies everywhere. Like if you're not in a situation and you're paying money and it's not strictly like teaching and information for your benefit, please like reevaluate. So have you ever hired a business coach?
No.
So I have hired multiple business coaches, and I have great examples of like really wonderful experiences, and then, you know, experiences that I did not align with and they felt real weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to kind of like give tips because I feel like there are so many people that are unqualified to actually do the business that you're trying to get better at, that just become coaches.
Yeah.
And it's
right. They took a program.
Really questionable. Like, check people's credentials. Like if you're looking for a business coach or a coach to learn anything, if you don't have an opportunity to interview them, then don't take their coaching.
Oh. Yeah. I feel the same way about therapy, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's great. I feel like that, of course, also applies. This person's going to play an important role in your like emotional health and your career. Interview them. And so here, I just looked this up for you. Like, here's 5 expert tips for choosing a business coach. Consider your goals and expectations. Look at their education, experience, and credentials. P.S. If the person hasn't achieved and can prove that they've achieved what you intend to achieve after receiving their coaching, then you shouldn't hire them.
Word.
Like, if you haven't like started and successfully operated multiple cosmetic companies and like international distribution, why would I hire you to coach me for that? Contact references and read reviews. One thing I read was like, if most of your quote unquote coaches' reviews are by other coaches, you know, dig deeper. Ask about their availability and pricing, naturally, and check for compatibility and value alignment. Like, you know, are they a person that you align with their values?
Right.
Because, I mean, if I had a business coach that was like remotely unethical, I would be like, oh, this doesn't work. You know?
And really, when unless you interview them, you're not going to actually know that until all of a sudden you're like, well, it has to be sustainable and organic. And they're like, oh, well, that's just silly, you know? And then you're like, God damn it.
Okay, sorry. I'm just like reading more signs about how coaches are bad, but whatever. Okay, so here's an example of like a coaching experience that I had that was freaking amazing. I hired this woman who specifically was in like a very narrow niche market and had launched multiple independent beauty brands. And I mean, one of her things was like she was like the biggest distributor of handmade soap in the UK or something. Whatever. That's not exactly what I'm doing, but she had the ability to, when we met once a week, give me spreadsheets and information about calculating to the penny what my product needed to cost, factoring in the fact that I would have like outsourced distribution at some point. And, you know, like she had real hard-won experience in all of the areas that were important to me. And she actually gave me invaluable lessons and information. She had actual coursework and book recommendations, and it was really structured. So, and it was very fruitful, and she was funny and kind, and also being an independent woman as a business owner, whether you're an energy healer or an acupuncturist or have your own brand, is like acutely intense in very certain ways. And there was an emotional support element to it, just by virtue of her being a kind and caring person, having been through it and raised kids while she did it, right? I think somehow it led me to be, when I was seeking out another coach, to be less diligent about making sure that it was going to be good for me. So I found myself in this situation where I hired this coach, and it was kind of the opposite. And upon reflection, I was like, oh shit, I should actually be this person's coach. I have about at least 10 years more experience than they do. And the only thing that they want to talk to me about is kind of like stifling my emotional response to things.
What?
And that's a red flag. And so
that's terrifying.
So that didn't last. And it was under the pretense that it would help me to challenge myself and do hard things.
Sure.
And I was like, are you kidding me? You haven't asked enough questions to understand that I do hard things.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
All the time.
Like, I remember this one conversation. I don't actually want to get specific, so I'm not going to, because I don't want to interfere with anyone's livelihood. But I think just those tips, if something, when you want business, like technical business support, and you're not getting like spreadsheets and guidelines and like real information, you need to know that before you sign up for something. I was like, what is this?
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, there's no regulation on who can be a coach.
No, anybody can be.
So you need to really dig deep, because anyone with like half a, I don't know, like half an ounce of self-confidence or something, or delusional enough to think that they can help people.
They're like, I love giving advice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a coach.
I don't know. There's also this weird hierarchy thing in certain situations where, in certain industries, where it's like, okay, I'm a coach, and now my coaching students are becoming coaches, and it creates this weird cycle, and no one has any real life experience on what they're coaching. Like, I think the biggest thing too is like, I just want to reiterate, have you achieved what you're coaching me to do? Are you psychic? Like, can you access the Akasha? I mean, it applies to spiritual stuff as well as
so many things,
as business. But like, are you a certified whatever? Like,
oh Jesus, that was loud in my ear.
Sorry, I was trying to blow on
your mic.
I blew actually way over in the other direction, but these little baby mics are powerful.
You watched a documentary about a cult, which triggered you thinking about your experience with a business coach, is what happened.
Yeah, I mean, and it certainly wasn't a coach, but it was an experience where I was like, this is weird. Why aren't you laying out what's going to happen next week? Like, what exactly are you doing? Like, I didn't sign up for what's happening, and I feel confused.
Well, you should just, work through that, Suki, and get to the other side, and, you'll be stronger in the end. I actually have to say that I would be a great cult leader based on astrology.
Are you kidding me? All right, let's hear it. I want to know about the astrology of cult
Okay,
leaders,
well, so
please.
you can't actually be like, well, this is going to be a cult leader, but there
Totally.
are a few interesting little elements. So the cult leaders, majority of the cult leaders of the 20th century, so like David Koresh, Manson, Jim Jones, like all the all the big cult leaders.
Uh-huh.
What was the guy?
The heavy hitters.
Yeah, from Heaven's Gate, that dude. All of their sun signs, well, they had just so many fixed signs. There was lots of fixity. So that's Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius. Lots of Leo and Scorpios happening. But then another thing that just seems, and now, and so in this century, there seems to be a leaning into, and this is fascinating, there's more of a mutable direction with the sun sign, which I think makes sense because I think of mutable as like they can be chameleons, like they can wave around. And also there's a healing element that has to do with mutability. And I think that that's how a lot of cult stuff is happening now is there's this faux idea of like your highest self and healing. And
I
but
know, I
so
hate it so
there's
much.
I know it's brutal. But one of the things that like runs through a lot of them is a strong connection between Mercury, the planet of communication, who's also a trickster,
Mhm.
um, and Neptune, uh, the outer planet that has to do with our subconscious, our dreams, our fantasies, our delusions. And those two, in all of these people, have a very strong connection. I have a very strong Mercury Neptune connection. And so I would be a great cult leader too. I don't want to be though, but if I put my mind to it.
Yeah, I mean, you can just be a leader. Right, you don't want to put
Yeah,
in the
right. I
work.
mean, I don't want to put in the work of being a cult leader. No, I don't. I don't like that much attention or self-involvement. I don't even really love looking at my own chart, but everyone else's I love looking at.
That's good.
But yeah, it's interesting, and it's like, yeah, of course, like someone's in every sign, it's like it gets creepy looking at like cult leaders charts and going through timeline stuff and looking at what like progressions were happening or transits were happening during different things.
Yeah.
And also serial killers. I've done that with serial killers. And it's just a drag because these were just real fucked up people. And their chart is the exact same chart as somebody else's chart that was born the same time, in the same
Yeah.
place. But that person didn't become a serial killer or cult leader. It's crazy. We make choices.
Yeah.
Free will, bitches. Free will.
Yeah, it's freaky on this spiritual path. I'm sure you've even met people in the healing arts that wig you out. But like
Lord.
if you had to give advice to people that are trying to like wade through who to trust and who like, I'm personally, like, I'm not looking for a leader.
Yeah.
I'm personally connecting to my higher self, and I want everyone to leave me the fuck alone. But
I know, but we're also at a certain age in doing that. I
yeah,
feel like in your 20s and even early 30s, it's
right.
like there's a real seeking happening.
Yeah.
Um and I think that, like, it's like I belonged to an online ashram for 2 or 3 years that was specific to Kundalini awakening.
Yeah.
And it ended up feeling very culty. And so I bolted. But it was but it took a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It took a minute to be like, wait, this doesn't feel, because I've been following this person's direction and advice and guidance, and I am a better human. I feel
Yeah.
I've changed because of it.
Yeah.
And then there's a turn, and you're like, well, I want to have all the gratitude for all of the growth that I've done. So do I feel obligated to make this turn, because obviously it's going to keep going. And for me, when I backed out, I was seeing people being admonished
Mm-hmm.
for not giving enough, and rules were getting stricter,
Mm,
and there was a real closing in. Like, basically, it started feeling like you're not supposed to be in communication. I mean, not really, but like anything outside of this community isn't good for you. And it was one
okay.
of those things. And then there was, of course, the donations that,
Right.
any donation was fine. However, you know, and it was one of those things where, like, I got a fuck ton out of it,
Yeah.
but like
That probably
the
makes it
second,
that much more complex.
yeah, exactly. And I think that that's the hardest part, is like when you have allowed yourself to be vulnerable and open up and learn and grow and break through some shit of yours, you are profoundly fucking grateful and um in awe of the human that helped you do it. And you're like, you are a magical creature for helping me do this. Like, therapy didn't help me do it. My friends didn't help me do it. Having a bunch of sex didn't help me do it. You did it
Mm-hmm.
with your rules and your guidelines and your energy. And so, obviously, when I should keep following it, because won't that keep going?
Yeah.
But I mean, and some people are still, I mean, like, I like peek into the ashram every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
like just through like YouTube and things. Um and there are still a couple of the people I knew from back in the day there. But I think that there was a big exodus around this
Yeah.
time, which, I but it, like, we
So,
all
can I
leave
ask
things
you
when we
during
do.
that time, like,
Yeah.
do you feel like do you feel like during that time when you got some red flags, like, did something change, or did you just notice something that you hadn't noticed before? Or did you just feel unsafe, or what corner were you referencing?
It was like, really, I think that it was the guru getting pretty aggro at people about the way that they were choosing to exist outside of the ashram, or
Yeah.
how
What do you,
much work they were willing to put in.
what do you think that's indicative of? Aside from just like inappropriate behavior.
Well, I mean, it's not inappropriate. If this person only wants people that are 1,000,000% absorbed in what they want to happen, okay. It's not me. I'm not, I don't follow anyone's rules like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, I mean, like, like the military, like, people love following rules. So they're, it's like some people feel real good in it. I mean, all of the cults that we were talking about, I mean, as far as like business coaches, like, or healing leaders being assholes, that's a power. It's just like, I want to feel better and bigger. And you being smaller makes me feel that.
Yeah.
But
I do really wish that there was like on this path, whether it's for business coaching or spiritual enrichment, like I really wish that there was some concise answer to give. But it's kind of like go into whatever you're going into knowing exactly, at least writing down exactly what you're looking for. And if what you're getting veers from that path, at least ask a million questions,
right now, you and I are in this conversation. This is like the perfect Virgo Pisces polarity. You're like, make a list of what you want. If you are not getting exactly all of those things, get the fuck out. This person has to be there for the everyone. Where I'm like, go in, feel it. If it feels bad, swim away.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're truly saying the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, yeah. I don't think I would even use that sort of approach if I hadn't been through two versions. I've done many, but I'm just using two polar opposite experiences.
Yeah.
To as my example for like, this was good because this is what I was looking for, and this was bad because it threw me, like shocked me.
So, okay, out of curiosity, since I've never done business coaching, which, is probably ridiculous since I've had a business for almost 15 years.
You're not alone. Not ridiculous.
I know. Oh, I know. But like, what made you decide that was a good idea? Like, what made you decide, like, I need to know certain things that
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like that's the thing where you don't know what you don't know. But I felt like because the only true way of learning something is by doing it the wrong way. I've done I've learned so much and I've done a lot of that, but we have access to mentors and we have access to people in business. Like I can see myself doing this someday. Like people in business that really just want to share what they learn, because guess what? Most small business owners didn't go to business school.
Right.
We're just figuring it out, And it's that whole thing of like the trade person or the practitioner starting a business, but then and thriving in the action, but not knowing how to run the actual business that supports it, right? So that's why I just really started to like fine tune. I really wanted to know how to do it right.
Was it when you started products? When you were starting with products? Or even with just running Sparrow?
That first one, that first coach mentorship program, that was for Sparrow for Everyone. Yes, that was for learning kind of like the ins and outs of contract manufacturing, product distribution. Because it is hard out there. Like
Yeah,
it's brutal. And I think it's, everyone could say this, it's like slightly easier now, but when I started doing this, it was like just treading through mud. It was very hard to like figure things out and learn. So that was that. I've taken coaching that was like for the salon business. And I've done coaching, not necessarily coaching, but I've hired someone to help me create like my standard operating procedures, stuff like that. So like there's access to anything that we want to do to streamline our businesses. We just have to look around. But I also took this like 3-month long program called like it's a Goldman Sachs program called 10,000 Small Businesses, which was incredible. It's like a it's like a 3.5 month like business program. It's very fast and intense, and you have access to tons of amazing professors and information from everything from your like mission and vision to your the gross part, like the numbers and the bookkeeping and the accounting and all of that. But so through that, I met a lot of people that kind of helped me kind of like there was business coaching involved kind of, but it was more like we just shared information, and I served as a beta for this one guy who was trying to start a program to help people create their standard operating procedures. So that's kind of my experience with like coaching and stuff. Yeah, I would say probably most small business owners haven't done any of that, but there's a world of opportunity in doing it. And there's even like free mentorship programs that you can get through like universities or the city, or like there's access to a ton of small business support.
Yeah.
Because, our economy wants and needs small businesses.
Yeah.
Even though they seem to do everything to contradict that. But
yeah. Yeah, they sure do. They sure do.
Technically, they want us around.
I hate being a business owner. I just love doing my job.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I really, I mean, like, I find it a massive pain in the ass. I'm not great on the details. I just got to tell you. Yeah. And when I have too many plates in the air, details fall off those plates constantly.
Yeah, it's
a drag.
Really hard. It's really hard.
It is. It is. And I'm bringing that up because I'm like, well, in theory, I want to know all of this stuff, but I'm like, oh my God, I don't have time to take a fucking class like that. But I want to know all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, And then it's like, well, then do you hire the person that did take that class?
Yeah, maybe.
To help run your shit?
Nah, I just think
I'm not there.
But my perspective right now is that like you hire the right people. Like, yeah, you have a great bookkeeping company.
Right.
That's huge. I can't even say how important that is. It's been like crazy important for me because they do far beyond bookkeeping. You hire or you have someone that can be a consultant, an advisor.
So like we use QuickBooks for our bookkeeping.
Yeah. I also use QuickBooks.
But so you have somebody that then, but you sell things. You have multiple different, you also pay people. So that makes sense to me because we don't have somebody we just rectify all of our QuickBooks. But it gets way more complicated when you have staff.
Well, I can tell you this. Products. I ran my company for many years, like not even knowing the importance of like what a profit and loss sheet looked like or meant. If you have a small business, like you actually do need to know, like no matter how you do it. And it makes a huge difference to learn. And I think a great way to learn is to have a bookkeeping company that you can communicate with. I can refer you to mine because you would be amazed at what you can learn. You can like glance at it and know a lot about your company that you didn't think was available. But anyway, this is not a business podcast. Who cares? This is about cults and coaches.
And science.
God, we went off the rails today.
We did, but that's okay. They don't mind.
Don't join a cult, y'all.
But if you find yourself in one, just get out when you can.
Yeah, as soon as you feel
not good. If they want to brand you, or if you have to give somebody a blowjob, get out.
Yeah. Or if you hire...
Or if you have to give lots of money. That's another thing.
Well, I mean, you usually... Right. But in terms of coaching... I just don't think you should have to do that. If it doesn't feel right, and even the most subtle way, don't wait around to find out why.
Yeah, I feel the same way about doctors and therapists.
True. Because there's so many people out there that are doing beautiful, like, work with such integrity that will not make you feel weird in any way.
Yep.
Just find them.
Yeah. I mean, right. All practitioners of any kind. Hairstylists.
Yep.
Acupuncturists. Anybody, when you are in front, tattoo artists, when you are in front of a practitioner of any kind, you should feel safe and taken care of, like heard. And if you don't, get out. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about hurting their feelings. Don't worry about them being mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about you. Well, what if I'm wrong? This person had a good experience. It doesn't matter. It's not your experience.
Yeah.
Like everyone's experience is totally different.
Yeah, no problem. So what?
Zero problemos. None. Get out.
Okay.
Do whatever it takes to make yourself feel great.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to call it.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, I just want to say I have joined
Oh no.
Patty Davis's witch school.
Not a cult.
Not a cult. I joined Patty Davis's, I have signed up for Patty Davis's witch school, and it starts in January, and I'm thrilled. And I think anybody who wants to dive into their witchiness but is unsure how you go about doing that, we'll put the link in our notes because she is amazing, and I've already looked at the syllabus, and it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. It's 11 weeks.
That's great, Claire. I'm very excited for you, though. Thanks. I'm sure you'll have a lot of interesting witchy stuff to report back.
Oh, yeah, you know it. Well, enjoy the rest of your time in Austin.
And I will.
Yeah.
Okay, have fun.
Eat some good brisket and shit.
I don't know. Well, yeah, we eat well. We eat well.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go pay attention to my family. Love ya.
Gratitude. Mwah.
Gratitude to you too, dude.
Thanksgiving, man. It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Gratitude.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye,
Suki.
Bye. Love ya.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as we did. Be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss a new episode. If you liked today's episode, please consider leaving a review to help the other psychics find their way here.